Good morning, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So I'm going to get started today with the stats like I always do and go into what's happening there. And basically, what's going on is that basically in the single family homes, that the number of homes sold last week were 423. It was 427 the week before, so pretty consistent. The median price actually increased to 449, which was an increase of 4.4%. And the inventory actually increased by 85 and now takes us to 6295. So what all that means is those 423 homes, the way they shake down is there were 44 that sold under 250, 35 between 250 and 300, 84 between 300 and 400, 84 between 400 and 500, 147 between 500 and a million, and 29 over a million. When you're looking at the months of inventory, we're looking at 3.43 overall, 1.75 under 250, 2.24, 250 to 300. Then we're right about at that amount, 3.21, 3.64, 3.33, all the way up to a million. And then over a million, we're looking at 6 months worth of inventory based on how many houses sold last week. The list to ask price was at 98.22. Under 250 was at 96.47. 250 to 300 was at 99.3. 98.47, 300 to 400, 98.28, 400 to 500, 98.71, 500 to a million, and over a million was at 97.1. So really, the under 250 was our lowest at 96.47. And the overall average days to get a contract was 46, is basically, what we're looking at there. And the average square footage on a house is 2,090. So that's kind of what the scoop is there. When we're looking at the condos, townhomes, and villas, there were 148 that sold last week, 133 the week before. The median price was at $292,000. So again, we're hovering close to 300. We were over 300 one week, then we went down to 275. Now we're at 292. So we're kind of, that's definitely inching up on the median price of the condos, townhomes, and villas. So something to definitely, know if you're out there that those prices are definitely increasing. The inventory actually increased by 49 as well, and we're at 3190 when it comes to those types of properties. So when you're looking at that 148, actually 61 of those sold under 250, 17 between 250 and 300, 44 between 300 and 400, 17 between 400 and 500. There were 8 between 500 and a million, and one of them over a million. So when you're looking at the months of inventory there, we're at 4.97 overall. So a little bit higher than we are on the single family homes. Under 250, we're at 4.14. 250 to 300, we're at 6.49. Then we're at 426 between 300 and 400. 400 to 500, we're at 6.16. 9.49 between 500 and a million, and 5 months over a million. So they're kind of a normal market, because a normal market is considered between 4 and 6 generally. So most everything is kind of falling pretty close into there. The 500 to a million at 9 is a little over that. So it's definitely more of a buyer's market. Now overall, the list to sale price is still pretty close at 96.87. It's 94.8 under 250. 97.93, 250 to 300, and we're staying at 97s all the way across until you get to the over a million, and that one was actually at 96.53. They are 55 days to a contract on average, is, what's going on with them. So basically, when you're looking at that, our market is pretty healthy. We're getting more inventory, so that means there's more choices for buyers out there actually on the MLS. But one of the things that I saw this week that I thought was really interesting is that it was talking about the number of homes that are sold that are new construction. And basically 1/3 of all homes that are for sale are newly built. So the share of houses for sale that are brand new is hovering at a level that's nearly double of the pre-pandemic rate. 33.4% of single-family homes for sale in the U.S. in the first quarter were newly built, essentially unchanged from a year earlier, but down from a record high of 34.5% 2 years earlier. And, you might say, well, why are so many houses being built? Well, there is a need for houses, definitely in Central Florida and a lot of other places throughout the U.S. It actually goes back to before even 2008 when we had the recession, and a lot of builders, kind of lost their shirts and everything and had to reorganize, and things were really slow for a while. So between 2008 and 2011, I would guess probably in that range, there weren't a lot of houses built that they really needed to continue to be built. And with an area that's always population increasing at this moment, like Orlando is, then definitely, we need more places for people to live. And as it's been for years, as you drive around and you see an area that was wooded, and then all of a sudden you see the elevator shafts, and then you see, houses going in there. And the thing that I'm noticing more and more recently are definitely the rent-to-own homes. So what these are is that these are communities that are being built that are just completely rent-to-own homes. So everybody in their rents, it's got one landlord. Just instead of an apartment complex, they built homes on this land instead of apartments. And I was driving over in Winter Garden earlier this week, and I saw another community that was going in that had that. It was actually Winter Garden Claremont. I don't remember if it was actually in Lake or Orange County, which would depend on if it was Claremont or Winter Garden, but it was really close to the border of both of those counties, actually. And it said that they were being built right now, brand new homes that you can rent out as a rental home. So that's something that is also going on, with everything out there. So home building has definitely shot up, and the supply of existing homes for sale, it's saying, has dropped, which means that there's a lot of people that are going under contract that are building their own home and, choosing it and that kind of stuff too. But there are still inventory homes out there, and with them, a lot of times you're getting the best interest rate that exists out there. So it's a good win-win situation out there. And when you look at the difference in the interest rates, and this is an example that I found out there, that this is below our median purchase price, but it's just an example to give us an idea, that the purchase price was $381,000 is what it was saying. Well, our median price of a single family home is, I believe it was $440 that I just talked about. So basically, we're quite a bit higher than that. So the numbers are going to be a little bit different here, but they're doing this to illustrate a point. So if you put 20% down and you got a loan for $304,800, the difference in your payment of the interest rate being at 6% or being at 7% is $201. And I think that's why they use these numbers. But basically, you can see that the change in the interest rate makes a huge difference. So in that circumstance, if a builder is paying for a rate at 4.99, which there are some of them out there that are doing that, and we can help you get in them and find them and that kind of stuff. So that means if you had a $304,800 loan, that would be a difference in payment of $400 between 7 and 5, basically. So $400 a month is a lot. It's a big difference in who can afford it and who can't, and all kinds of things like that. So it's the things that you need to look at. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So one thing that's good that was passed recently by the legislature was an additional $100 million approved for the Hometown Heroes housing program, and the funding begins July 1st on that. So if that's something that you want to take advantage of, then that's something that you might want to get on board with now so that you're ready to go with that. That funding runs out pretty quickly. When it was launched, the funding was depleted in under 2 months. And so this is these new funds, $100 million, will be available as of July 1st. So what the Hometown Heroes program is it's a lending program that allows hometown heroes, police, fire, teachers, medical industry people. It includes so many people that a lot of people qualify for it. And basically it gives you a loan from the state, that you can use for your down payment assistance, or you can use for your down payment and that kind of thing. And, after a while, I believe it's forgiven, but there's, if you move within 5 years, then you have to pay it back, 20% per year that you didn't stay there that 5 years and that kind of stuff. So it's a great situation for, for people that are hometown heroes. And so we definitely like to help people out like that. We definitely have lenders that can do all of that as well. So it ends up being a win-win situation if that's something that is of interest to you. So moving to the insurance, insurance is something that I hear about all the time. And I was just talking to a guy earlier this week, and he was telling me that in his neighborhood, last week there was a hailstorm, and he said that the amazing thing to him was the next day all of the roofers were in the neighborhood knocking on doors and saying, hey, we can get you a new roof and all of that kind of good stuff. And it's kind of crazy, and that's essentially what has caused a lot of our insurance problems today in Florida, is that kind of activity. Now, I'm not saying that if your roof was not damaged, that it was damaged, that you shouldn't do an insurance claim or anything like that. But, if it's just minimal damage and it was time for you to replace the roof anyway, that's, completely up to you. But that's why our insurance rates are the way that they are. And what's happening now is insurance companies are using aerial images to review risk. I've been told, several years ago that what happened, the inspectors were telling me that what happened is that when, something happened like a hurricane or a hailstorm or something like that, the insurance companies did know where they hit and what neighborhoods and that kind of thing. And they're not necessarily going to tell you that, hey, you had a hailstorm and so you might have some roof damage, but they definitely know when it was, when it happened, all of that kind of thing. And so obviously, it's kind of like storm chasers for roofs and that kind of thing. Some of these roofers are going in there and taking advantage of the situation and helping the homeowners get a new roof, but it might increase everybody else's insurance and everything as well. So it's kind of a catch-22. Obviously you do have the damage, but should the insurance company pay for the whole thing? And is it enough damage that really, did cause a problem, or did it compromise things, and where are we at on all of that? And so, one of the things that the insurance companies are trying to do is that they, like I said, they're using aerial photos during the underwriting processes to determine if a policy should be renewed. And so this is something that they're saying that you want to keep your yard clear of debris. And so, this is a notice no homeowner wants to get, that your insurance company has decided not to renew your policy effective in 30 days. And the reason, based on aerial photos of your home and your roof is in poor condition. So your first must be response might be outrage and is this your insurance company spying on you, and can it really take photos of your house at any time? And it is legal and it's nothing new and everything that they're doing, but with the drones and aerial photos and all of that kind of stuff, they're able to do that. I know that, when people get a new property, a lot of times the insurance company is relying on the inspector results, and they've got, photos of the roof and that kind of stuff, or they might send somebody out there to actually look at it to see and all of that. So they are using more and more technology to make sure that everything is the way that it should be. So red flags that they're saying is that you want to keep debris out of your yard. It could be home for vermin, trip and fall hazard, and that kind of stuff. So they want to make sure that that's over that. You don't want to have any trees hanging over your home. That's something that's a horrible risk, both for fire and that the tree could go over. If they see trampolines or swimming pools that you didn't tell them about, that could be a lawsuit risk, and so they're going to be concerned about that. And but the biggest issue that they're looking for on these are the condition of your roof. And so you might want to check satellite images of your roof for moss, for broken shingles, or other signs of wear and tear. Such issues could get you a non-renewal, notice and that kind of stuff. And if you do get a non-renewal notice, you want to immediately contact your insurer and ask them why, and ask them if they use the aerial videos. And then the thing that I might do is I would probably get an actual inspector to come out there and do that, to do wind mitigation and a 4-point. The 4-point inspection covers the roof, the AC, the plumbing, and the electrical. And so that gives the insurer much more peace of mind, basically, that of what's going on. And so you definitely want to, prevent insurance issues that are coming up, with that. So the more that they see on the outside, that the better that you look, the better you're going to be when it comes to your insurance policy, which only makes sense. And with, aerial photography and drones and all that kind of good stuff, technology that's going on right now, it's pretty easy for them to come out there and do those kinds of checks. And so just a word to the wise there to make sure that you're doing what you can do to make sure that your property looks the best that it can, and keeping trees and limbs and everything trimmed up the best that you can when it comes to those kinds of things. And that's just going to be a win-win situation, for you. So that's basically, what the scoop is that you might want to look at and make sure that everything is going the way that you want it to in that. And, there was an article that came out that was on simple solutions to elevate your home style. And I know we're in the middle of Memorial Day weekend here, so maybe you've got a little bit of extra time on your hands. And so you're thinking, what could I do to make my house look a little bit better? And one thing that you could do is enhance the entry. First impressions matter. You might want to have a front door or just paint your old one. It can dramatically change the look of your home and enhance curb appeal. And other do-it-yourself fixes like repainting the exterior trim or replacing the house number or installing new outdoor lighting and that kind of thing might be something that works as well. Inside, maybe you want to put in a new backsplash. You don't have to go for the expensive tile backsplash. You could try something simple and inexpensive like tin ceiling tiles or wooden beadboard, wallpaper, stainless steel, chalkboard, or magnet paint or something like that if you wanted to do that. So there's lots of little things that you can do. I'll get into more of them in the next segment. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's Central Florida Real Estate Radio, and we'll be back in touch with you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, the host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407 566 2555. That's 407 566 2555. So, I was talking about simple solutions that you can do to elevate your home style. And we talked about enhancing the entry and installing a new backsplash. Another thing that you could do are illuminating ideas, which might be new kitchen lighting or a new fixture over the dining room table to bring or brighten up any holiday meal. And so that would be something that you can do. They've got a lot of things that are pretty easy to do now with LED lights, and a lot of them that are more, with that low voltage and that kind of thing. They're not very difficult to install. So maybe it's under cabinet lighting or something like that that you might want to do that would just make it, nicer for you inside your house. If you want to buy or if you want to sell it, that's great. But if you don't, just something that you can enjoy. Another thing that they're saying is that's really good to do is updating the fixtures in the kitchen or the bathroom. They can add that extra shine you're looking for. New kitchen taps have a lot more functionality, so the upgrade can be more than just aesthetic. And so this is a good first time do-it-yourself plumbing project for you to do. If you want to do that, make sure you shut off the water valves before you do that. That's a big tip right there. Next, they're talking about landscaping to trim the grass and make sure that all flower beds are freshly mulched and free of weeds, which I think is a great thing to do on Memorial Day, obviously, or Memorial Day weekend. So prune overgrowth shrubs, especially if they're hiding windows or blocking the entryway. And, everything in Central Florida seems to grow so fast that you definitely have to keep that updated and all of that. So you guys all know that, but just something to keep in mind. And then it's talking about gutters and fences to reinforce sagging gutters and straighten crooked fences. Make sure the gutters are clear of obstruction and soils washed out around downspouts. A quick power washing will brighten fences. And don't forget, once you've done a bunch of fretching up, bringing some indoor plants into the house can really make the house breathe again to help filter the air and fill in the empty spaces. So just little things that you can do right there, on your house to make it look a little bit better for you and all of that. Now, this is some things not to do. And this is from a designer that said that practical choices in the kitchen are important because homeowners spend so much time in that space. So here's some things that they suggest not doing. And the first thing is harsh lighting. It doesn't belong in the kitchen. The kitchen is a space that has evolved, and it basically has become the social hub of the home. With this in mind, it needs to be warm and welcoming, and harsh, bright white lights can completely eliminate any warm ambiance. So you can choose lighting temperatures for the kitchen that are warmer, as opposed to bulbs in white light, which is extremely bright. Harsh lighting can highlight areas that might need a clean, and scuffs and scratch marks more visible and that kind of thing as well. And, it's like with the LED lights and everything that are out and the lights that are here today than what they were years ago, is you can just have that little bit of warmth to it, and it makes a huge difference. The second thing that they're talking about not to do is overbearing use of color. And, you might want to have colorful kitchens, but too much color can be overbearing and ruin the aesthetic of the space. Dark colors, including dark browns and reds, as well as bright colors, are beautiful in moderation. However, you can definitely use too much of them in the kitchen. So you want to make sure that you don't overbear using that. You want to use the materials and finishes thoughtfully. One of the biggest kitchen design don'ts is choosing a material based on the way it looks without researching its properties and practicalities. While a particular material may be nice to the eye, it could be a complete nightmare to clean and maintain, and it could also be potentially hazardous. So when you're looking at the kitchen, you probably don't want to do plastic laminate inside the kitchen. While it's an affordable material, it's prone to chipping easily and can impact the aesthetic of the space in the medium to long term. Another material that you probably want to avoid is high gloss. Why it's desirable finish for some, it's known to show dirt and scratches easily and isn't particularly suitable for people with a young family. So just another thing to keep in mind. And then inefficient appliances is the next thing that they're saying to avoid here. One of the first things to look at is how efficient are the appliances when planning on purchasing. Inefficient appliances are no-go. The kitchens of the future are poised to prioritize sustainability with the emphasis on minimizing their environmental footprint. So energy-efficient appliances may cost more initially, but they can offer savings in the long run. And I was surprised. I did purchase a refrigerator. It's probably been about a year ago now. But when I got it, I thought they were all energy efficient, but they definitely were not. And so I'm sure that definitely is something that has come to the forefront because there were people affordability and that kind of thing that you could get a refrigerator for less money if it wasn't energy efficient or any other appliance for that matter. I just had to get a refrigerator because my freezer went out. But basically, when it comes down to it, the energy efficients are more expensive in the short run, but more efficient and less expensive in the long run. So that's just a decision that you have to make. And then demand for L-shaped kitchens is on the decline, with online searches failing for this style of kitchen layout. So an L-shaped kitchen to some homeowners like it, but it's not necessarily the best use of use of space. Gosh, if I could talk here, it would help. So one wall configuration that includes an island for kitchen layouts. And I think this is probably the most popular. And then you're open everything that you go. I mean, a lot of the new homes that I've been selling, that's definitely what they've got is everything's kind of against that back wall. And then they've got an island with a lot of cabinets and that kind of stuff in it, and everything is counter length. It's like no more that, cafe style where you've got that higher kitchen bar, I guess is what you call it, in there. Everything is flat and it's got a lot more space that way and all of that kind of thing, which is one thing that eventually I plan on changing in my kitchen because I do have that kitchen bar. And so I do plan on making it so that it's just one level and everything, and it'll definitely give me more space and open up the space even more than what it is today. So but that it comes down to, what each person particularly wants. But basically the bottom line is that that's something that everybody can look at, know, and all of that definitely is, good for everybody. So that comes to the kitchen, of a designer's opinion of what was good and not good. Now looking at the bathrooms, basically these are things that you might want to look at, that today that there are a lot more options and everything in what you can have and sustainability and all of that kind of stuff. With all the advancements of an energy saving technology, the bathroom is the easiest place in the home to accomplish a sustainable environment, in many cases the most economical. So basically sometimes, like we had talked a little bit earlier, of changing the faucet, that can just reduce water and energy costs. It can attract more of today's sustainability-minded buyers, and they're healthier for homeowners is what it comes down to. So some of the things that you can pick in this environment are smart shower heads and faucet, radiant heated floors, which I would not necessarily recommend for Central Florida, lighting upgrades, low VOC paints and finishes, which I'm not sure 100% what that is, and then sustainable bathroom countertops is the last thing that they're saying here. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So I wanted to talk about something. This isn't going into effect until July 1st of 2024, so I'll probably talk about it again. But we're basically, close to a month away from that. So it's a new law that becomes effective, like I said, July 1st, 2024, that'll help homeowners remove illegal squatters from property they own. It's intended to help homeowners reclaim their property quickly as long as certain conditions apply. So this is, the new Florida law. And so let me just go through a little bit of what it is. So these conditions outline the requirements for requesting the immediate removal of squatters from a home in Florida. Number one, the requester must be the property owner or authorized agent of the property owner. The property being occupied includes a residential dwelling. Squatters have unlawfully entered remain or continue to reside on the property. The property was not open to the public when the squatters entered. The owner has directed the squatters to leave. The squatters are not current or former tenants under a rental agreement authorized by the owner, and they are not immediate family members of the owner. And there is no pending litigation related to the property between the owner and any of the known squatters. So those are the conditions. And so meeting all of these conditions allows the property owner or authorized agent to ask the county sheriff for the immediate removal of the squatters from the property. So that's what happens with that. So if those are the circumstances, so that's pretty good for homeowners. I think it's a great situation, especially for people that might own a property that don't live in the area, or if you've got a property for rent that you haven't rented it out yet, or even if you're selling it and you haven't sold it yet and somebody moved in. Now, I haven't encountered a lot of that in Central Florida. I do know that it exists, but personally, I haven't encountered it, so it's not a huge problem that I'm aware of, but it's big enough that they actually, have addressed it and made sure that it doesn't become one. So here's the penalties in the new law to prevent illegal squatter situations. If a squatter detains, occupies, or trespasses on a home and intentionally causes 1,000 or more in damages, they commit a felony of the second degree. So any squatter who knowingly and willingly presents a false lease agreement, deed, or other instrument communicating their right to be on the property commits a misdemeanor of the first degree. A person who advertises a home for sale knowing that the supposed seller looks legal, lacks legal title or authority to sell the property commits a felony in the first degree. Now, this I have seen where people are advertising properties that are for rent that are scams that really aren't there. And so that's a felony of the first degree. And then lastly, a person who rents or leases the property to another person knowing that he or she has no lawful ownership or leasehold interest in the property commits a felony of the first degree as well. So those last two are things that I do see all the time, where somebody might be advertising a property somewhere online, usually is where it happens, and then people are calling us saying, hey, is this really real or not? And so we check into it as best we can and say, hey, this is the actual owner of the property. Is that who you're dealing with? And if it is a property manager, like with everybody that we work with, we do have an agreement with that owner, so we would know that we definitely, have that and could produce that and all of that kind of good stuff. So if you are renting a property, I would strongly suggest that you do know that they do have the right to do that and everything. But if they don't, the laws are, as of July 1st, a lot stronger to be able to get people out of your property that don't belong there. If they were a previous tenant, then it doesn't affect this, or if they're a relative or something like that. But if somebody has come into your home unlawfully, and you can just go ahead and prove that, then they can be removed quite quickly and don't have to go through the whole big court, long drawn out system. So that's a new law going into effect July 1st. So as an investor, I would think I would be pretty excited about that. And if you have your house for sale and no longer live there, I'd be pretty excited about that as well. So those are just, things that are going on out there. And it doesn't, like I said, come into effect until July 1st, but that's right around the corner. So no big deal in order to make all that good stuff happen. So now I'm to the point in the show where I'm going to talk about our house of the week. And this is a house that's in a neighborhood. It's a great house. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath home, 1 story. Great neighborhood. It's actually in Kissimmee on the west side. So it's actually close to Formosa Gardens, if you're familiar with that, Margaritaville, that whole area. So there are a ton of restaurants and activities and definitely things that you can do there. But yet it's very accessible because it's pretty close to 429 and the entrance is on there. Obviously with 429, where you would be getting on there would be Simpson. So it's the exit before 4, but you could get on there to go up north to Winter Garden or anything like that if you wanted to. Basically, this home does have a pool, and it is in an area that you can do short-term rental, or you can long-term rental, or you can live in it. The current owners are actually living in it, and they love the neighborhood and the neighbors that are there permanently, and they say that they don't really hear anybody that's there on vacation. Occasionally here and there people are out at the pool, but they're not out there late and everything. The HOA in this community is about $600 a year, so about $50 a month is all. So very lax when it comes to that in regards to the amount of fees and everything. No CDD. This property is at $485,000, so right under $500,000. But it's in a great neighborhood. It's got a pool. It's got all the things that you're definitely looking for when it comes to a house for most people. So if you do have some interest in it, and you're thinking that, hey, it's Memorial Day and I want a house with a pool for the summer. I mean, school is out, I believe, in most areas of Central Florida as of right now. And so what's better than being able to watch the kids just go right outside and not have to, go through the hassles or anything like that. And this owner did put in a pool bath, so that's the half bath that actually is there, and it's all permitted and everything, and it's a beautiful half bath, so nobody has to be trekking through the house to get, to the bathroom from the pool. And it's got quite a bit of hardscaped area out there. So it's got a lot of area for you to have nice parties and everything out there as well. So it's just a great house. Like I said, it's in the Formosa Gardens area. It's off of Formosa Gardens and 192, but it's south of there, maybe about a half mile or so. So it's in a great neighborhood, low HOA, and got that pool, and everything is upgraded in the house and everything. The roof is about 5 years old, and so it's a great situation. So if you have interest, please give us a call at 407-566-2555. You can text us there as well. In order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com. And we will see you next week, and I hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend. Have a good one, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.